welcome back to the Full Thrive YouTube channel. I'm Lisa. I'm a copywriter who also coaches other copywriters. We were talking in the group today about wireframes. You ever heard of wireframes? Super important tool for copywriters. And in this video, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what are wireframes, why do you need them as a copywriter, why does your client need them, and how can you use them to raise your prices? If you're ready, we'll get started. We're going to cover some wireframe basics. Don't skip over this if you've ever used a wireframe, because you're going to hear my best tips and tricks when it comes to wireframing and wireframing tools. I really want you to come into this with open eyes and open ears and look for the things that maybe you have not heard before. And if this is brand new to you, then get ready. You're going to hear a whole lot. You may have to go back and watch this a few times, but I want to give you not only just the tools for wireframing, but understanding the mindset behind it so that you are confident when you're communicating to clients. All right, let me jump into the presentation. What are wireframes? You might understand what they are, but you need to be really good at explaining it to a client. So I'm going to walk you through how I describe wireframes, and it'll benefit for some of you that are new to it. And then also you're going to learn the language I use when I'm talking to clients. So by now you've gotten the picture that copywriting is more than words, and it includes combinations of images, social proof, calls to action, sales psychology, emphasis, italics, bold, all types of different visual things that will enhance the words that you write. And a wireframe is just the tool to help us organize ideas and present to a client. I like to think of them as a blueprint that an architect uses. In fact, I use that analogy a lot when I'm talking to a potential customer or client. I'll say that wireframes are simply like blueprints. They help you to see what I'm writing in context of the project we're working on. It's not going to do anybody any good for me to give you a Google Doc with a bunch of words and hope you figure out where to put it or hope your website designer knows where to put it. I want to paint a picture, or probably more appropriate, draw a picture of what it's going to look like. Guys, let me tell you, there is nothing worse than working on a project with a client and getting some really great ideas, them catching the vision of all of it. And I can't even remember the days where I didn't do wireframes, but I'm sure there was. And then trying to communicate that to a website designer or developer and trusting, hoping that their finished product, their vision of what you tried to communicate is going to turn out great. And I can tell you from experience, it doesn't always turn out great. In fact, oftentimes it doesn't turn out great. And then the client's unhappy because they don't have a website is really what they thought. You're not happy because you're like, that's not what I envisioned for this. And then ultimately you can't even use it in your portfolio if it doesn't look great. So it is in your best interest to really understand wireframing and get really good at it, get really good at selling it. You are going to end up with a finished product that you're really proud of, that the client's really proud of, which means you're going to get referrals. And it's going to be able to allow you to create some really great portfolio pieces to sell the next product. So why do we need them? As a copywriter, it helps us to map out the user experience, the viewer's experience, the reader experience, the visitor experience. They're not really users, but they just the term that's is standard in the industry. But what is the experience a visitor to your website will go through? What are they going to look at first? What are they going to look at second? What are they going to be asked to do? What are they going to be seeing in a picture? So it's for us to map it out. I like to think about it as like figuring out what steps, what's the little roadmap, what's the trail for decision making, for thinking for a potential customer. If they went here, what would naturally they do next? We want to make everything super smooth. And also wireframes allow us to use it as a little bit of a checklist to make sure that we are including all of the important components, that we're doing it in a way that people can understand, that we're not trying to cram everything up at the top and hope the visitor knows what to do next. So powerful for helping you organize your thoughts even before you write the words. Why do clients need them? Or why would they want them? This is the simplest way for them to evaluate the work you deliver. It makes it very easy for them to give you feedback. And it's going to streamline your process, minimize revisions, and keep your projects on time. So let's just talk about some of the tools you can use. There's so many of them. And in this program, I am not going to spend a lot of time on all the different tools. I'm going to share with you the one I use. And I don't even know if it's the best. And that doesn't really matter. There's probably better tools. And in fact, you could come to me the next day after watching this and be like, Lisa, there's better tools. Please use them. I have chosen to use the tool I use because I am so familiar with it. It is so simple. It's very, very inexpensive. And I'm going to tell you all the benefits why I'm using it. But feel free to look around and find a tool that you want to use. For this program, I am going to ask you to use Balsamiq so that it's easy for all of us to look at it, give you feedback, leave comments, and all of the things. But what you learn about wireframing, you can use with any other tool. In the early days, I started with a pencil and paper, and I was so proud of myself because I found paper without lines on it, and I was able to draw out all the boxes of where we were going to put pictures and buttons and images and all kinds of things. Then I moved to Google. I started using Google Documents and Google Draw to add boxes and things like that. So you can use Google Draw. They actually have a wireframing tool. Canva's a great option if you're already a Canva Pro user or Power user, or you're like, man, I love Canva. Go ahead and build your wireframes in Canva. If your clients are really savvy with Canva, it means the two of you can work together and collaborate on them. My wireframe choice is Balsamiq. I'm going to tell you lots about Balsamiq, but you can look into that. Balsamiq was one of the first ones I used, 4 years ago, and I have just stayed with it. And I know a lot of you use Figma. Figma is a free tool, and I think it's a great tool as well. And then there's so many more. Way too many to list. So part of your homework is going to be to do some research, ask around, ask this group, and figure out which one you want to start using. I want to talk real quickly about the difference between wireframes that a graphic designer or a website designer creates and the wireframes a copywriter creates. Why this is important, I'll tell you where it's going to come up. It will come up if you are talking to a potential client and they say to you, Oh, I don't need wireframes. I already have a website designer who's doing wireframes for me and probably charging them a lot of money. So in their mind, they don't want to pay for 2 sets of wireframes. And I'm going to tell you in a minute here, there's a huge difference between the real wireframes that a website designer uses and the wireframes that a copywriter uses. So you want to be able to understand that yourself and then explain that to a client when you need to do that. The wireframes that we use as copywriters are low tech, low fidelity. It's supposed to look like pencil and paper sketches. It's not supposed to look like almost a real website. That is the whole point of the steps of the maybe 2 types of wireframe. So you want to be able to educate yourself on the difference. And there is a lot of difference in the complexity, the time it takes to build them, and the cost. When a website designer, developer, or graphic designer, they are using what they call high fidelity prototypes, meaning they are including real pictures and the real fonts and the brand colors and all kinds of design elements that are meant to look like a real website. And when you see the wireframes that we're going to use in Balsamic, you're going to quickly go, oh, mine do not look like a real website. Mine look like something a 7th grader drew. And that's exactly what we want. Hey, I hope you found that useful. You know, adding wireframes to your copywriting business is a really great way to show up like an expert, deliver your work more professionally, and get paid more of those expert rates. You know, what you just saw was a little bit of a training I do called Frame Like a Copywriter. It's a 3-week intensive that allows you to add wireframing as one of the tools that you deliver to clients. So if you're looking to level up as a copywriter, and also in this program, not only am I going to show you wireframing, we are going to wireframe a homepage together, and you're going to walk away with 3 fully built templates that you can use with your next client: a homepage, a sales page, and a landing page. This is going to help you get a running start as a copywriter if you're getting into website or sales page copywriting. If you're interested, click the link below and jump on the waitlist.